The Young and the Restless spoilers for Friday, March 14, reveal that Martin Lawrence's grand finale will get underway while Chance Chancellor passes along a clue. Phyllis Summers and Sharon Newman will also face their last chance to survive, so let's talk about what's coming up. In captivity, Sharon and Phyllis will try to nail down where exactly in the room the camera is. The goal will be to turn it off and ruin the kidnapper's fun, so that he'll ultimately be forced to show his face. However, Phyllis and Sharon could be punished for trying to make their own rules. This is a very elaborate experiment that was designed with total control in mind, so Martin, who is seemingly posing as his twin brother, Alan Laurent, may retaliate. Whatever the case, Martin will obviously have some sort of grand finale in store when it comes to this kidnapping chaos. Phyllis and Sharon will find themselves in a desperate struggle to survive, so there could be an explosive device with a countdown, or even some sort of toxic gas that gets pumped in the room. Of course, it's possible Alan will excuse himself from his engagement celebration with Tracy Abbott and head over to Havenhurst at some point. Could that lead to Alan getting busted there? Regardless, Y&R spoilers say Nick Newman and Billy Abbott will eventually arrive at the clinic in hopes of pulling off a rescue. Chance won't be far behind and will come with updates on a clue, so this could help them save the captives and potentially expose Alan as well. It sounds like Martin may lose control of his plot, so that should bring some wild moments. The climax of this kidnapping storyline will deliver some scary twists and turns, but Phyllis and Sharon will score freedom in the end. Sadly, the Young and the Restless spoilers say Tracy will face total devastation when she realizes everything she thought she knew about Alan is a lie. Although Tracy will continue making predictions about her bright future with Alan, she'll inevitably face some crushing news soon. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel Pulse Canvas. It's me, Julie here. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Keep watching. So let's dive into today's video. The Young and the Restless scoop for Thursday, March 13, reveals Alan Laurent will put a ring on Tracy Abbott's finger. Also coming up, Victor Newman will be happy for Adam Newman. Plus, Chloe Mitchell will surprise Chelsea Lawson, and Nick Newman and Billy Abbott will head off to the clinic where Phyllis Summers and Sharon Newman are being held. I&R spoilers tease Adam will tell Victor he was right about something, moving on to the ranch and bringing Chelsea with him. He'll admit the connection he and Chelsea had seems to have returned. You deserve some happiness, Victor will say. Y&R Daily Scoop. Adam asks Chelsea if they're really reuniting. Meanwhile, Chloe will pay Chelsea a visit. She'll ask if she and Adam are back together. Chelsea will say not officially, but they're on their way. She's seen a whole new side to Adam since their son was diagnosed with OCD. Maybe Baltimore was more than just a moment of desperation, she'll add. Then she'll ask Chloe to tell her it's a terrible idea. I'm really happy for you, Chloe will reply. Chelsea will laugh, put her hand on her friend's forehead, and ask if she's okay. Adam will return and Chloe will leave. He'll ask Chelsea if Chloe told her to pack her bags and run, but she'll say she actually blessed their reunion. Adam will ask if that's what this is, a reunion. Maybe, Chelsea will reply. Don't blow it. At the park, Alan will watch his captors on his phone as Phyllis tries to pick the lock in the dingy basement he's locked them in. Good luck, he'll say. Then he'll send a text to Tracy. On my way. Order champagne. Let's do this properly. Tracy will reply that he should meet her in their suite. Ellen will arrive and tell her she's changed him. I'm a better man because of you. I can't imagine living the rest of my life without you. He'll take out the engagement ring and Tracy will tell him it's perfect, just like you. Then Alan will officially propose. After Tracy says yes, his phone, which is in his pocket, will go off with a notification that there's been a breach at the clinic. Alan will ask when they can get married. He thinks she deserves a big fairy tale wedding. No, she'll reply. I have my prince. That's all I need. Ellen's phone will continue to ping and Tracy will tell him it's okay if he checks it. Maybe it's important. Nothing is more important than you and this moment, he'll reply. My future bride. Young and the restless scoop. Nick is not wasting any more time. In the basement, Sharon and Phyllis will try to pick the lock on the door. I think I got it, Phyllis will tell her. This should open it. Then an alarm will go off, and it won't stop until Phyllis pulls the metal out of the lock. They'll pick up the card and realize their captor has been sneaking in while they're sleeping. Phyllis will suggest they find the camera in the room and turn it off so the sicko can't see them. Sharon will worry that their captor could just leave them there to starve to death. They have nothing if we're dead, Phyllis will reply, and she'll say they have to do this together. At Billy's place, he and Nick will discuss the text he received. He'll want to click the link, but Nick will tell him it could be a trap. However, Billy will insist and convince Nick it could help them find Sharon and Phyllis. He'll click on the link and see a photo of Sharon and Phyllis in the basement room. What the hell? Billy will say. There will be another link under the photo. Billy will click on it and a skull will pop up, then a message. Who will pay the price to save the life of the mind? Then they'll debate on what they should do. Finally, Nick and Billy will get in a vehicle and head to the clinic. They'll call Chance Chancellor, who will say the police are on their way. Billy will ask if they should wait until the cops show up before they go inside. No way, Nick will reply. Now that we know Sharon and Phyllis are there, I'm not wasting any more time. But will they get there before it's too late? The Young and the Restless spoilers, Friday's full episodes, March 14, 2025. In the midst of Genoa City's ever-deepening web of secrets and schemes, a new plan has emerged, one that promises to turn the tables on the kidnappers who have haunted Sharon and Phyllis for far too long. Despite the relentless despair of captivity, the two women have managed to devise a clever method to catch their tormentor red-handed. They agreed that every time their captor brought food into the holding area, one of them would remain awake while the other slept. With this alternating system ensuring that someone was always alert, they hoped to eventually confront the intruder within a 24-hour period. Their plan was simple in theory. As soon as the kidnapper appeared to deliver the meal, they would ambush and threaten him with the evidence of his crimes. Yet even the most meticulously laid plans can be fraught with uncertainty. Questions lingered in the air like a heavy fog. What if the kidnapper simply did not show up? Or, perhaps more disturbingly, what if it was not the kidnapper at all, but a trusted maid or a coerced accomplice executing the delivery? The possibility meant that gathering indisputable evidence would be an arduous, painstaking process, a race against time and deceit. In a situation where every moment mattered, the risk of failure weighed heavily on them, as every shift they kept vigil was both an act of bravery and an exercise in desperation. Meanwhile, Sharon and Phyllis prepared their vigil in their confined space, far from the prying eyes of their captors. A parallel drama was unfolding elsewhere. Nick and Billy, tasked with the equally perilous mission of rescuing the captives, were gripped by an overwhelming sense of dread when they discovered the location where Sharon and Phyllis were being held. Their eyes widened in horror as they realized that the supposed safe house was, in fact, an abandoned hospital. This derelict building, once a place of healing, now stood as a grim monument to tragedy, a place where countless lives had been claimed by a devastating epidemic, leaving behind only sorrow and decay. The very thought of rescuing their loved ones from such a macabre setting was as repulsive as it was dangerous. For Nick and Billy, the abandoned hospital was not just an eerie structure in a forgotten part of town. It was a symbol of the twisted fate that had been imposed on Sharon and Phyllis. The chilling history of death and disease that clung to its walls only deepened their resolve to bring the captives to safety, even as the haunting memories of the past threatened to undermine their courage. Amidst these conflicting narratives of hope and horror, the murky truth surrounding the puppeteers behind the scenes remained elusive. The identities of Alan and Martin, figures long suspected of pulling the strings behind the abductions and other nefarious schemes, were still shrouded in mystery. Rumors swirled that one of them might be none other than Aristotle Dees, the enigmatic boss of Damien, whose own past was interwoven with shadows and betrayal. Although some whispered that Damien, the troubled enigma caught in the center of these dark machinations, might have been manipulated or groomed by Aristotle Dees himself, there was still no consensus on whether Damien was truly a villain or simply a pawn in a far larger, more intricate game. This uncertainty gnawed at those who had witnessed his actions. Could he possibly be redeemed, or was his fate sealed by the nefarious ties that bound him to the sinister forces behind the kidnapping? For Jack, who had long harbored a deep-seated dissatisfaction with Alan, the unresolved questions only added fuel to his burning anger. His resentment was not merely directed toward the man who had repeatedly betrayed the trust of those around him, but also toward the broader system of manipulation and deceit that had allowed someone like Alan to flourish. Yet, even as Jack seethed with discontent, it was Tracy who bore the heaviest burden of this legacy. Caught in the crossfire of shattered loyalties and broken promises, Tracy was forced to confront the bitter truth that despite her hopes and dreams, some consequences were hers to bear alone. The weight of her choices was becoming increasingly unbearable. As she looked into the mirror of her own disillusionment, she knew that if she continued to place her trust in Alan, she would have to shoulder every heartbreaking consequence alone. In the face of these intertwined tragedies and schemes, Genoa City teetered on the edge of transformation. Sharon and Phyllis, despite the relentless uncertainty of their vigil and the risk of the kidnappers' elusive nature, clung to a fragile hope, a hope that rescue was imminent, and that once free, they could begin to rebuild the lives that had been so cruelly dismantled. Their plan, though risky, symbolized a resistance against the overwhelming oppression that had defined their recent existence. With every careful turn during their watch, they were asserting their will to survive and reclaim a measure of power over their own destiny. Meanwhile, the grim setting of the abandoned hospital loomed as a sinister backdrop to the rescue efforts of Nick and Billy. The horror of its history, its forgotten corridors, and echoes of past sorrows only served to heighten the stakes. Why would their enemies choose such a place, steeped in tragedy, to execute their cruel designs? Perhaps it was a calculated move, a way to haunt every moment with the specter of death, to remind everyone involved that in this city, even salvation could be tainted by the ghosts of the past. For Nick and Billy, every step into that decrepit building was a battle against not only physical danger, but also the overwhelming despair of a legacy of loss. The Young and the Restless spoilers and updates tease all evidence now suggests that Martin Laurent is the one holding Sharon Newman and Phyllis Summers captive. It appears that Alan Laurent's sinister twin is orchestrating this chilling experiment. Let's delve into the myriad clues that have emerged. Alan and Martin were opposite twins identical, but Alan good and Martin evil. In August 2024, the series dropped a significant clue suggesting that Alan could actually be Martin. When Alan returned home with Tracy Abbott, he gazed at the Abbott mansion as if he were seeing it for the very first time. Although he later insisted that he simply hadn't appreciated the house before, it raised some eyebrows. Many viewers speculated that Alan might indeed be Martin, but the storyline didn't delve deeper into this theory until now. If Martin is indeed the twin who survived the balcony incident, it seems he has been masquerading as Alan all along. Alan's reveal as Martin may have been a last-minute decision. The show has only recently embraced the twist with the introduction of the peculiar captor of Sharon and Phyllis. Now, Y&R is finally advancing the Martin storyline, gearing up for a significant revelation. Subtle clues have emerged indicating that their captor could be a former mental patient, particularly given the eerie setting of an abandoned psychiatric facility where they are held. Even Billy Abbott hinted that there might be another madman at play, aside from Ian Ward, and Martin certainly fits that description. Additionally, it's clear that Martin prides himself on having superior methods compared to Ellen when it comes to handling patients. Martin pushed Ashley Abbott too hard. Martin exerted excessive pressure on Ashley Abbott with his hypnosis techniques, driven by a need to assert his dominance over his brother. In the episode airing on March 11, the captor of Sharon and Phyllis revealed that the entire ordeal should be viewed as an experiment. This individual is treating Phyllis and Sharon like subjects in a lab, deriving pleasure from proving his theories correct. We recall that Alan had previously mentioned conducting a psychological study and sought an interview with Sharon for his book. If this was indeed Martin, his fixation on Sharon may have intensified during her hypnosis sessions linked to the Ian and Jordan storyline. Martin must have researched Phyllis and Sharon's pasts. Perhaps Martin has convinced himself that he can mend the rift between Sharon and Phyllis by taking drastic measures. It's likely he delved into their history for this endeavor, which Sharon suspects is merely a ploy to showcase their kidnapper's cunning. Now, Alan is poised to make more appearances alongside Tracy, and it's important to note that he appears somewhat unhinged in the Y&R preview for the week of March 10. The show seems to be steering Alan toward a more erratic portrayal, reminiscent of Martin, suggesting that Christopher Cousins is playing Alan as if he were Martin ahead of a shocking twist. Unfortunately, Tracy's life may soon unravel when the truth about Alan comes to light. She may transition from believing she's about to marry Alan to discovering he's his sociopathic twin. The Young and the Restless spoilers reveal that Martin Laurent has once again taken over his brother Alan Laurent's life. Martin was supposed to have been killed when he and Alan fought in Paris and fell out a window. Fans questioned who survived at the time. Did Alan die that day instead of Martin, or did Alan fake Martin's death? Is Alan Laurent the brother who died months ago? Martin took over Alan's life, and Alan was found locked up in a closet the last time he was with Ashley Abbott in Paris. Alan and Martin fought, and they fell out the window. Alan said that Martin was dead. However, there wasn't a lot shown about the results. Did Alan fake Martin's death? Has Martin been pretending to be Alan all along? Is Tracy Abbott in trouble after all of the time she's spent with Martin? Martin is so much different from Alan. Tracy could find herself in real danger. Look what Martin did to her sister when he was impersonating Alan. Martin is a mental patient himself, and he certainly doesn't need to be anywhere near Tracy. Fans have questioned this swap for months. Fans have wondered since June 2024, which Laurent brother actually died in the fall that night. He acted like Alan when it was all said and done. However, we have Martin behind Phyllis Summers and Sharon Newman kidnapping. Everyone wants to find him. What would anyone think if they knew the truth? Martin has already proven how dangerous he is after his attack on Ashley and caused her DID to flare up. Ellen was there to help her and get her into treatment. However, Ellen would not be holding people hostage. That is Martin's means of operations. Will Nick Newman save Sharon and Phyllis from this madman? Tracy Abbott will be devastated. Tracy is so in love with Alan that she will be devastated to learn that she is dealing with Martin instead. If Tracy were to figure this out and say something, she could find herself in grave danger. Martin wouldn't think twice about silencing Tracy if he has to. Martin doesn't care for anyone but himself. Tracy may figure out that something is wrong and tell someone else how strange Alan is acting and maybe get some help. It would be a shame for Martin to hurt Tracy or possibly even kill her. Has Martin been planning this for months, or is Tracy going to have to save Alan before Martin gets rid of him too? The Young and the Restless spoilers reveal that Summer Newman might be getting a new boyfriend. Will Summer ultimately move on from Kyle Abbott with Billy Flynn's character? Flynn is jumping from Days of Our Lives to Y&R in a new role, so he'll be making his Genoa City debut later this spring. Of course, it's never too early to start making predictions on who Billy Flynn's character might get romantically involved with. At the moment, Summer is scheming to get Kyle back and acting like a selfish brat. It honestly doesn't feel like Summer's getting the kind of writing where she's going to emerge victorious in a love triangle. Instead, this may be a situation where Summer's meant to be annoying and serve as angst in Kyle's budding romance with Claire Newman. Claire and Kyle are going to face more drama in their relationship, but they may overcome the obstacles in the end. At this point in the story, we're not getting vibes that Kyle wants a reunion with Summer at all. That could change in the coming weeks, but maybe Kyle has truly put Summer in the rearview mirror when it comes to their past romantic connection. Summer will continue to work various angles and try to pull Kyle closer, but that doesn't mean her plan will pay off. It's possible this storyline will just leave Summer heartbroken and humiliated over her failed attempt to reunite with Kyle. If that's the case, Summer might finally let go of any dreams for another chapter with Kyle. It could free Summer up to move on with someone new instead, and the timing could be perfect considering Billy Flynn's upcoming debut. No character name has been released yet, but we could certainly buy the idea of Flynn playing someone who ultimately catches Summer's eye. Perhaps Summer's new boyfriend is about to walk into her life and rock her world. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Summer's love life could go through some changes over the next few months, so stay tuned for updates on any big romantic news to come. The Young and the Restless spoilers reveal that Tracy Abbott will face a crushing blow once the truth comes out about her new fiancé. Tracy thinks she's going to marry Alan Laurent and live out the rest of their days as a happy couple, but she's in for a rude awakening. It wouldn't make much sense for Alan to suddenly go off his rocker and carry out a double abduction plot, so all the clues point to this actually being Martin Laurent. Of course, we know one twin perished in that balcony tumble back in France. Martin supposedly broke Alan's fall and died in the process, so a corpse was hauled away that night off-screen. Everyone thought it was Alan who survived, but a simple clothing swap would have allowed Martin to step into his brother's shoes once again. It's possible both twins survived if Martin somehow faked his death like Ian Ward is doing now. But the easier explanation is that Alan has been Martin ever since the night of the balcony fall. That fits with Alan's suspicious behavior back in August 2024 when he returned to Genoa City with Tracy and acted like it was his first time entering the Abbott house. Even so, many fans are complaining on social media about the show setting Tracy up for devastation. Now that Tracy has finally found happiness and someone to love, it's about to get ripped away. Is it wrong for Y&R to break Tracy's heart? Is this Alan and Martin swap twist just too cruel? We get that soaps have to bring the drama, but it's still a shame that Tracy has to suffer for this unnecessary captivity story. Was it really worth destroying Tracy's chance at love for a few weeks of Sharon Newman and Phyllis Summers as bickering hostages? Beth Maitland and Christopher Cousins are wonderful acting partners who have great on-screen chemistry together. It's a bummer for Y&R to throw that away just for the shock of this Martin reveal. Tracy is about to be distraught and single again, so it just doesn't seem fair. Many viewers would have preferred a different storyline altogether if it meant Tracy could keep Alan as her doting true love. On the bright side, we have no doubt that Beth Maitland will deliver a powerful performance once the truth about Martin's exposed. Maitland will have an opportunity to show off her acting skills, so at least something good will come out of all this. Alan has been making predictions about the amazing life he's going to share with Tracy, but she's on the verge of making a discovery that'll change everything. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Tracy will face a flood of tough emotions, so stay tuned for updates on the horrible news that's still to come. as fans eagerly anticipate the upcoming episodes of Young and the Restless from March 17 to March 21. There are plenty of twists to look forward to. From explosive revelations to intense confrontations, here's a summary of what's coming. Alan's deception unveiled. One of the biggest shocks in the coming week is the revelation that Alan Laurent is not who he appears to be. Initially thought to be a romantic hero, Alan is exposed as a villainous captor. While he proposes to Tracy and seems genuinely in love with her, viewers soon discover that he is monitoring Phyllis and Sharon, who are trapped at Havenhurst Psychiatric Clinic. This shocking twist suggests that Alan may not be who he claims, and many fans suspect the person behind the facade is his evil twin, Martin. With a history of sociopathy and jealousy, Martin's motivations seem to stem from an unhealthy obsession with his twin brother's life. Sharon and Phyllis' desperate fight for survival. As Sharon and Phyllis continue to struggle for freedom, tensions rise. Having saved each other's lives, they unite in a desperate effort to escape the clutches of their captor. However, they may be walking into a dangerous trap set by Alan or his twisted twin, Martin. Fans can expect a life-or-death battle as they race against time to get out alive. Jack's growing suspicion. Jack Abbott is beginning to smell something fishy. His concerns grow over Alan's sudden devotion to Tracy, especially as he abandons his prestigious career to focus solely on her. Jack's instinct tells him that Alan may be too good to be true, and his suspicions will likely drive him to investigate further. Jack's role in uncovering the truth is expected to become crucial in the coming episodes. The rising conflict between Claire and Summer. In another dramatic development, Claire grows increasingly frustrated with Summer's interference in her relationship with Kyle. While Claire doesn't blame Kyle for Summer's actions, she can no longer ignore the growing tension. Expect a confrontation as Claire takes matters into her own hands, determined to set the record straight and expose Summer's manipulative behavior. Nick and Billy's quest to find Phyllis and Sharon. Nick and Billy, armed with new clues, are racing to locate Phyllis and Sharon before it's too late. They will face numerous challenges as they try to confirm their lead and determine if it's a legitimate opportunity or a dangerous trap. Fans are left wondering if they will arrive in time to save the women, or if they'll be too late. Victor's manipulations and Tracy's blissful unawareness. Victor Newman's influence continues to shape events in Genoa City as he manipulates Summer in her efforts to sabotage Kyle's relationship with Claire. Meanwhile, Tracy, blissfully unaware of the dangers surrounding her, begins to make wedding plans. Her excitement is palpable, but little does she know that a dark presence looms close. As the week progresses, the drama intensifies. With Claire confronting Summer, Jack questioning Alan's intentions, and Nick and Billy racing against time to rescue Phyllis and Sharon, there's no shortage of action. Meanwhile, Tracy's engagement marks a bittersweet moment of happiness amidst the growing chaos. The upcoming episodes promise more twists, turning Young and the Restless into an unmissable thrill ride. The Young and the Restless spoilers reveal that at least 4 revenge plots are set to heat up. These DC residents won't be able to resist payback, so let's talk about what's ahead on the CBS soap. 1. Jack retaliates over Victor's spies. Since Victor Newman planted spies at Jabot, Jack Abbott is sure to retaliate once he finds out. Sooner or later, Jack will get updates on Victor's sneaky move and make a vengeful power play in return. Victor and Jack are stuck in a terrible cycle since they just keep trying to settle the score. There's no sign of that changing anytime soon, so Jack will get revenge over Victor's spies and keep this feud going strong. 2. Billy's vindictive media launch. Billy Abbott is also gearing up for a vindictive media launch, since part of him still wants to crush Victor and Adam Newman. Once Abbott Communications makes a big splash in the media world, Billy will view this as his chance to go after vengeance. Despite Billy's attempt to convince everyone that he's stepped beyond his need for payback, it won't be that easy for him to move on. Billy's going to fight hard against Newman Media and seems to have plans regarding Chancellor too. 3. Summer strikes back over stolen life. Summer Newman is already finding ways to come between Kyle Abbott and Claire Newman whenever possible. The longer this storyline goes on, the more entitled Summer may feel to a reunion with Kyle. Y&R spoilers suggest Summer may begin to feel like Claire has stolen her old life now that she's the woman by Kyle's side. If Summer starts to envision Claire's marriage to Kyle and the possibility of her cousin becoming Harrison Abbott's stepmom, that may push her over the edge. Summer may find herself feeling resentful of Claire for stealing her spot in Kyle's world, so she may strike back and work to reclaim it. That would be sweet revenge as far as Summer's concerned, but will her efforts pay off? 4. Damien's hidden agenda ends in vengeful backlash. Over with Damien Kane, he has a hidden agenda that's sure to spell trouble. Nate Hastings has been trying to stay positive when it comes to any predictions about his half-brother, but he can't deny that Damien's acting shady and keeping secrets. Once more revelations unravel about Damien and his ulterior motives, he could face some vengeful backlash. Nate, Divin Winters, and even Lily Winters could make Damien pay the price for any dirty moves that are still to come. The Young and the Restless spoilers say revenge will remain a powerful motivator in Genoa City, so stick with us for any other payback news that might be in the works. So where you want to be for fantastic Young and the Restless spoilers, news, and updates, so make us your top Y&R source. Laura Lee Bell, the beloved daytime star, is set to shake things up as she returns to The Young and the Restless in June. But that's not all before she makes waves in Genoa City. She's heading over to The Bold and the Beautiful for another exciting crossover in April. Could this mean unfinished business, a rekindled romance, or something completely unexpected? Let's dive into all the details. The Bold and the Beautiful. The Young and the Restless icon Laura Lee Bell is making a bombshell return before she even sets foot back in Genoa City. Before Christine Blair returns to Y&R, she'll first be gracing The Bold and the Beautiful for an exciting crossover tied to none other than Forrester Creations. According to Deadline, Bell has already filmed her scenes for B&B and viewers will get to see her in April. But what exactly brings Christine to B&B this time? Well, Laura Lee Bell herself teased that whenever her brother, B&B Brad Bell, calls, she never knows whether it's to talk family or to invite her back for another big crossover. He established this collaboration, Bell shared, hinting that Christine's ties to B&B over the tears. Viewers will remember that she first crossed over back in 2007 when Ridge needed help. Recently, in August 2024, Christine returned to LA alongside Michael Damian's Danny Romalotti. The duo made a splash as Danny's music was used for Brooke's bedroom lingerie line. With Christine once again stepping into the glamorous world of Forrester Creations for a fashion show, it will definitely be epic, so stay tuned to Soap Opera Daily for more such The Bold and the Beautiful updates. After intense speculation as to who captured Young and Restless Sharon and Phyllis and locked them up together, fans were blindsided by the reveal of the kidnapper's identity. Suffice it to say he wasn't on our radar whatsoever. So why then did Alan Laurent do it? Keep reading. We were nothing short of flabbergasted to see Tracy's new fiancé, Alan, pull his cell phone out of his pocket and discover that he was the person watching Sharon and Phyllis on the video feed. This meant, of course, that he was the diabolical captor who had torn them from their families and locked them up. In that moment, our hearts shattered for Tracy, who was at that very moment crying tears of happiness at the athletic club as she shared her engagement news with Jack and Diane. The reveal was shocking, but in retrospect, we saw something like this coming. Find out why we've long believed that Alan is his presumed dead twin Martin here. It's pretty clear now that Alan is, in fact, Martin, unless the former underwent a psychotic break after the death of his brother. But that doesn't answer the big question. Why would Martin kidnap Sharon and Phyllis? Why would he care if they made amends or hated each other forever after? He doesn't even know Phyllis and barely knows Sharon. The answer to that is stunning and not a little chilling. We know, from Alan's past descriptions of his twin brother, that Martin enjoyed impersonating him, a respected psychiatrist, because he enjoyed the challenge of it and got a thrill out of being able to pull it off. As we found out when Martin fooled Ashley into believing he was her good friend Alan, he was incredibly skilled at the deception. Looking at the situation with Ashley and knowing what we do now, it's clear he not only manipulated the Abbott into thinking he was Alan, but may have done something during her initial meeting with him in Paris to send her headlong into the dead spiral and bring out her alters. That then led to him convincing her to sign herself into a clinic overseas to get help to discover a childhood trauma, thus getting her out of the way whilst he pursued her sister. Ashley, meanwhile, had no luck discovering this terrible event in her past, which makes us wonder if it even exists or was just another manipulation by Martin. In any case, it's clear that Martin loves to prove to himself that he is capable of manipulating people mentally and emotionally. It's a game for him, a challenge, like the one he's playing with Sharon and Phyllis. But why experiment on two women he doesn't even know? Well, our guess is that it stems from Sharon having been unlucky enough to have crossed his path and intrigued him. Young and restless fans will recall that he first met Sharon when Tracy introduced them in the athletic club one day. Sharon was clearly disturbed on that occasion, believing she had killed Heather and still under the influence of the PCP. That would have caught his attention. But Martin became even more entrenched in Sharon's psyche when Alan was invited to perform hypnosis on her in a bid to help her remember not only the night Phyllis was run off of the road, but also the events that took place on the night Heather died. He obviously became fascinated by Sharon and her mental issues, not to mention her complicated and volatile dynamic with longtime rival Phyllis. We can only assume that sense of intrigue is what triggered Martin's diabolical desire to play this unhinged game with Sharon and her nemesis. To find out if he could achieve the seemingly impossible and force the enemies to work through their issues and team up, not only survive, but to escape. The words experiment, challenge, and game have been used repeatedly throughout these scenes by the voice, which sheds light on his motivation. But the idea that he has mentally and physically tortured these women and treated them like lab rats simply for the thrill of it, and to satisfy his demented ego, is downright chilling. Could there be more to it? It's possible, but that will have to be revealed in time. The young and the restless spoilers reveal that Holden Novak recently crossed paths with Claire Grace Newman. However, there really weren't any sparks. One character that could definitely sizzle with Holden is Sally Spectra, though. Keep reading and let's talk about what could happen next in Genoa City. Claire Grace Newman's chance meeting. In the Tuesday, March 11, 2025 episode, Claire was sitting at the bar when Holden came up to her. Claire was actually waiting for Kyle Abbott. The two were on a date, but Summer Newman had an emergency which tore Kyle away for a little bit. While Kyle was with Summer and Harrison Abbott, Claire was sipping a martini. That is when Holden came up and suggested a Vesper would be more to her liking. Kyle Abbott's interruption. Claire and Holden didn't chat too much. It seemed Claire was intrigued and curious about Holden. As for Holden, he acted really weird when Kyle suddenly returned to his date. Claire introduced Kyle and Holden. However, Holden tried to fade into the background and moved one chair away. Maybe Holden just assumed Claire was single and ready to mingle. In any case, there is speculation that Claire and Holden might have a love connection. It seems likely that SKYLE is going to reunite, so Claire will need a new love interest. While a lot of fans are seeing chemistry with Claire and Holden, it didn't seem all that sizzling to me. Audra Charles introduction. The Young and the Restless spoilers reveal that Holden could end up dating Claire down the road, but he could also meet someone else. Fans might recall Holden meeting Sally. Even though it was very brief, I could actually see these two together. Holden Novak's risky lifestyle. There is something else to consider that would make it hard to see Claire and Holden as a couple. Holden lives on the edge and lives a risky lifestyle, according to Audra Charles. If someone like Audra was scared of Holden's risky lifestyle, then Claire surely wouldn't be able to handle it. Sally Spectra's new romance. However, Sally just might be able to handle Holden's lifestyle. Whatever that is, Audra never did specify. Sally is also a tough lady, and she just might be the one who tames Holden. After all, Holden and Sally could really sizzle together. It would be a heck of a lot more interesting than Sally and Billy Abbott.